morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Tuesday, December 29th, 2015. If you want to follow us on Twitter, please go to CATEX TV. Waves as high as 30 feet have been spotted off the coast of Ireland. This is all coming from Storm Frank. It's making its final approaches on the island. The storm threatens to bring more misery to several areas, both in Ireland and in the United Kingdom, that have already been hit by massive flooding. Irish meteorologists are saying that they've detected hurricane-force winds in the center of the storm, but note that the storm is expected to only bypass Ireland. Where it's going to get hit? Well, it is going to be progressively worse in areas of northern England and central Scotland, which will be hit beginning tonight and into tomorrow. People in those areas are being warned to brace themselves for more downpours. Those areas, of course, have already been hit by massive flooding that have already resulted in about $1.5 billion of insured losses. These are the areas of Cumbria, as well as other areas in Maghall, Merseyside, and around the rivers Swale, Ouse, and Ayr, which have already been inundated by floods. So the British are going to be getting ready, and the storm is due to hit Ireland at about 9 p.m. tonight, which is 4 p.m. Eastern time, and probably will hit England about an hour or so later. Meanwhile, the storm in the United States that has claimed 43 lives continues to rumble around. Today apparently is going to be another bad day. In Missouri, for example, the rivers there are going to experience major historic cresting later in this week and early into next week. Flood warnings are in effect now for 16 counties, especially in St. Louis County, where the Missouri and Mississippi rivers meet. In Texas, 8 people were killed after tornadoes in the Dallas area struck. In the upper Midwest and Northeast, that storm is now turning into heavy snow. Maine is expected to get some 22 inches of snow. Massachusetts is expected to be covered with about ½ inch of ice at some point today during the evening rush hour. And the mid-Atlantic states, heavy rain, as much as 1.5 inches, is expected all day today. And even in the southeastern part of the country, days of record warmth are over, and parts of the south are going to be drenched with heavy rain and flooding. At least 69 tornadoes touched down in the United States in just the past 7 days. Usually you'll see 24 for the entire month of December. The U.S. Geological Survey is reporting that a 4.3 magnitude earthquake struck this morning at 5:39 a.m. near Edmond, Oklahoma. It was followed by a 3.4 magnitude aftershock. About 4,400 customers immediately lost power. There were televised news programs from local outlets on at the time, especially one in which a meteorologist was giving the weather report as the quake struck. Belgian authorities have arrested 2 people suspected of plotting attacks on landmark sites in Brussels on New Year's Eve. The arrest took place this morning after multiple police raids in the capital. During the house searches, military-type training uniforms, propaganda materials from the Islamic State, and computer materials were seized, but no weapons or explosives. Federal prosecutors said that the threats targeted several emblematic locations in Brussels during the end-of-year festivities. Well, I always wonder about how safe those propane canisters are in people's backyards that sit there all winter until they're fired up again in the summer. In Melbourne, Australia, 1 man is dead and several others are injured after an explosion on a truck carrying propane cylinders rocked Melbourne's inner city, causing a multi-vehicle crash. Police said that a small truck loaded with propane gas cylinders and rubbish was severely damaged when an explosion sent the vehicle crashing into other cars. The explosion tore down power lines and shattered windows and was heard up to 3 miles away. The driver of the truck was in fact killed. When police arrived at the scene, they couldn't understand what had happened. The confusion was that great until they finally began to revive injured parties who explained what had occurred. Apparently the truck lost control, causing one of the propane cylinders to ignite. Saudi Arabia is reducing energy subsidies and allocating a larger part of government spending to next year's military budget. This is the first time in about 10 years that the kingdom has dipped into its financial reserves, all of course because oil has tumbled about 35% in price this year. Saudis are increasing the prices of fuel, electricity, and water by reducing government subsidies for these things. This is a big shakeup. Saudi Arabia has traditionally tried to mollify its restive minority population of Shia as well as disenfranchised Sunni by throwing money at them. This apparently is being put to an end as for the first time in 5 years the government has begun to draw down on their foreign asset reserves, which had stood at about $725 billion at the beginning of the year, but are now down to $627 billion. The Saudis are desperate to reduce dependence of their economy on oil. I don't really know what they're going to do if but for oil, but presumably they have a plan. So meanwhile, the reinsurance landscape is relatively quiescent right now. Most of London is closed up. Bermuda apparently the same way. So what we'll do is we will probably not have a broadcast tomorrow or on New Year's Eve and reconvene again on the Monday after New Year's Day. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and talk to you and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on Monday.